I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening and call to order the Bradford Exempted Village Board of Education May regular meeting. Could we stand for the pledge, please? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Schwab,
Here.
Mrs. Brewer.
Here.
Mr. Biesecker,
Here.
Mr. Manuel,
Here.
Mrs. Hill.
Here.
Thank everyone for coming this evening. Our first item is to review our agenda and approve our minutes. Do we see any additions or deletions to the agenda? None. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda as printed?
So moved. I'll
Thanks,
second.
Scott, and a second from Maria. Roll call for approval of the agenda.
Mr. Biesecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Schwab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer.
Yes.
The next item is a motion to approve our April 18th minutes. Motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Thanks, Trey. And second.
Second.
Thanks, Howard. Any discussions or questions? Hearing none, roll call for approving of the minutes as printed.
Mr. Biesecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Schwab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer.
Yes.
Next is our student spotlight. I'd like to turn the meeting over to our administrative team to honor our students and staff.
Hey, so today, for the elementary student spotlight, we are going to honor our fourth graders. So our first person, Annalise Peterwalt. How are you today? You want to hold this? Okay. So and she was nominated by Mrs. Unthank. The decision of selecting the perfect person to represent Mrs. Unthank's class was an easy choice. Annalise Peterwalt has been a rock star all year in class. When she is focused, Annalise will constantly show the class and myself what is a true railroader should be like. She will always give her best on her assignments and never takes the easy way out. There have been times when I have challenged her and she always shines. Her work is always nearly completed and completed to the best of her ability. Not only does she give her best with assignments, but she is a great friend to others. When someone is having a rough day or struggling with assignments, Annalise is always there to help lend a helping hand. She will comfort and guide others when they need it. I never have to ask her to help others. She just takes initiative herself. It has been a pleasure having Annalise as part of our class family, and I cannot wait to see where she goes next year. Congratulations to Annalise. She deserves it.
Annalise, you need to get a picture.
Can we get a picture?
No.
Congratulations. And our next person is Grayson Trevino, nominated by Mrs. Roberts. We'll have Mrs. Roberts come up and read that.
All right, so I would like to nominate Grayson Trevino for this month's Student Spotlight. Grayson works hard every day. He comes in with this big smile, that one, and you can't help but to smile back. He greets his classmates every morning and really sets a positive tone for our class for the day. He never needs reminders to finish his work or to stay on task. Grayson is a young man with integrity. I can count on him to always do the right thing, even when no one's looking. If there's anything that needs to be done, he's right on it. Grayson's an excellent friend, and he treats everyone with kindness and respect. Everyone wants to be his friend because he has such a kind heart. But don't let that kind heart fool you. He is a beast when it comes to sports. He loves football, basketball, and baseball, and he's extremely competitive. He loves to win. He also works hard in class. He's not afraid to ask questions, which is very helpful, not only for him, but for other students, because some students don't want to ask. He went above and beyond with his reading AR goal every quarter. He does all of his work with a growth mindset and a smile. Grayson makes our classroom a better place with his positivity and his leadership. Congratulations, Grayson. Thank you very much for what you contribute to our classroom daily.
So for our high school and junior high, we are honoring this year's salutatorian and co-valedictorians. So starting with our salutatorian, Isabel Hamilton. I'm proud to present to you the class of 2023 salutatorian, Isabella Hamilton. Izzy is the daughter of Mark and Tammy Hamilton. She's been a scholar athlete and a team captain in cross country for 3 years, basketball and softball for 4 years. She's also been involved with student council, class officer, FFA, publications, National Honor Society, and is active in her church youth group while maintaining a 3.96 GPA. After high school, Izzy plans to attend Ashbury University and major in elementary education. Congratulations, Izzy, on your high school achievements and best of luck with your future endeavors. Next, we have our co-valedictorian, Isabella Brewer. Bella is the daughter of Rachel Myers and Damon Brewer. She's been a scholar athlete in volleyball, basketball, track, softball, powerlifting, and cheerleading throughout her high school career. She's also been in the Spanish Club, FFA, class officer, drama club, publications, National Honor Society, and is active in her church youth group, all while attending Edison State Community College part-time and maintaining a 4.0 GPA. After graduation, Bella plans on attending Asbury University and majoring in early childhood education. Congratulations, Bella, on all your high school achievements and best of luck with your future endeavors. And finally, this guy. So Logan Daughtery, co-valedictorian. Logan is the son of Sarah and Bob Daughtery. He's been a scholar athlete in cross country and track for 2 years. He's also been in the Drama Club, National Honor Society, and volunteers at the Railroad Museum. He has obtained 2 associate degrees from Edison State Community College, all while maintaining a 4.0 GPA. After graduation, Logan plans on attending Bluffton University and majoring in biology. Congratulations, Logan, on all your high school achievements and best of luck in your future endeavors. And now we have our staff members of the month, which are our retirees.
It's hard to read some of these things because they've been here longer than I have been here, and I've been here a while. Cindy Angle has been teaching at Bradford for 34 years, 33 at Bradford and 1 year at Newton. During college, she worked at Sears and Pickwa as a trainer. A memory she has during the time here at Bradford is field day when her and Karen Reagan, some of you might have had Miss Reagan, and they were the champion in the 3-legged race runners. Also, Rita Brandon, which was our gym teacher, had inflatable balls that we were able to fit inside and roll, and talk about a headache, she said, from rolling around in those. Her most favorite thing is the great relationships with the students and staff that she's made here while at Bradford. What she'll miss is talking to the students every day about random thoughts. They just want to talk. What she'll enjoy for her retirement is camping, grandchildren, and I'm going to the 127 garage sale. She probably will be able to go do that. She'll be able to take the time off to do that. And that's Cindy Angle. She definitely will be missed, not only at the elementary level, but also as a coach and all the other things that she supported with the school. Our next person that's retiring is Rita Lees. Rita has been here since July 29th, 1986. She has worked as the elementary secretary for 37 years. Before that, she worked as at the public library while kids were being raised, and will be returning there now. Rita's favorite memory of being here at Bradford will be crazy things kids say. She remember, there's so many things, but I don't know how appropriate they are to some of them to say, but kindergarten especially was her favorite. For example, Haley Patty was in my kindergarten classroom, and one day she went up to Rita when she was saying what she did, and she said, "Hey, do you ever shop at Patty's IGA?" Thought it was so neat to be able to make that connection that who didn't in Bradford go to Patty's IGA. But there's so many more stories. So if you ever want to hear a good story about the kids here at Bradford, maybe even about you that might be sitting in this room right now from where she remembers you, just say hi to her, ask her some of those things, because Rita's heart has been here at Bradford. She's definitely going to be missed by me. Her plans for the future are, number one, she's very happy that she does not have to get up at any time. She'll be able to sleep in, take her time. She also plans to bake and try new recipes. We all told her, you still know the way to the school because that's going to be missed. Also going fishing with Gary. While she sits and reads a book, and how she said it today was, say, oh yeah, that's a big one, as he pulls one out, and admiring the fish and going back to her book. So, like I said, Rita's gonna be missed. She'll still be in the community, but she definitely deserves this time in the next chapter of her life. Rita Lees.
So for the high school retirees, first off, we have Mr. Rocco Latino. Rocco and I actually came in at Bradford at the same year, so he gets to lead it. So this is Mr. Latino's 23rd year at Bradford. Before working at Bradford, he spent 7 years in the Dayton Public School District. After he retired from the Air Force with 20 years serving with the Air Force. His favorite memories are all the times that he received a thank you letter from a student. He is going to miss seeing the light bulb go on every time a student mastered a difficult concept. During retirement, he plans on downsizing his wardrobe, which, by the way, if you know Mr. Latino, he has all his shirts in order, and he just will grab the first one that's there, and that's what he wears for the day. So I don't know how he's going to handle retirement where he won't have the shirts. And organize the garage, basement, and attic, and look for volunteer help. Thank you, Mr. Latino, for your years of service. And then our next retiree is Mrs. Sharon Moore. This is Mrs. Moore's 22nd year at Bradford. Before coming to work here, she worked in the offices of various banks and factories. Her favorite memory was when Mrs. Kettering and some teachers got into a water fight after school one day, after Mrs. Kettering hit someone with her whacker smacker, which was a thing that she used to go around and hit people with. She's going to miss the staff and the students who were there for her during the hard times in her life. Her retirement plans are to organize the family farm and then decide what to do next. That's Mrs. Moore. So I was thinking this, and I think Mrs. Moore and Mrs. Angle and Mr. Latino are the last ones that have been in their classrooms since the building was built. Everybody else has moved rooms or have been somewhere else. So they're the last ones to actually have the same classrooms the whole time the building's been here.
And I will say, in all my years of service anywhere in my career, I've never seen such big shoes to fill as these four pair of shoes. This is going to be a very big transition seeing them leave for the last time. So they've certainly made their mark on a lot of students in our school district.
Absolutely, deeply appreciated. Next, we have a new business. Sorry?
Oh, do
Did you?
you want to do a slide or do you want to do the motion?
Oh, go ahead. If you had a presentation, go ahead.
Mr. Barr, is this you?
I couldn't remember.
Let me see what I'm doing.
Bob and I briefly talked about it since Chloe couldn't be here. She's at the sectional travel. So we would like to dedicate the weight room to Coach Greg Hale, who obviously has made his mark in Bradford with the powerlifting program and coaching in general, whether it be football and in the classroom. So just a first-rate guy. He began the powerlifting program in 88, 89. I think I was in junior high school at that time. In 1999, he had the first year for the girls division, so he started the girls program. Ran the program for 35 years and retired just after this last season. He started with 5 lifters the first year and has grown to at least 40 each year, boys and girls. He's had 56 individual state champions, 7 boys teams that were top 5 in the state, 10 girls teams that were runner-up finishers, 4 state championship finishes for the girls, and the powerlifting program has funded literally every piece of equipment in the weight room. So the school district has not had to take on that for what he has brought into the district with his powerlifting needs. So, the administration, along with the board office and everyone, would like to dedicate the weight room and renaming it Hale's Gym. So.
So with that, we're honored to take the opportunity to use policy 7250 and name the Weight Room Hills Gym in tribute to Craig and his recognition for his decades of service to the powerlifting team. The motion to approve
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
A roll call for approval.
Mr. Bisecker,
Definitely, yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer.
Yes.
We'd like to welcome the family and his current team of representatives tonight. If you guys like to stand, please.
I was going to be very embarrassed if this didn't pass tonight. So I'm glad everything did. Talk about big shoes to fill. Coach Hale has been involved with this so many years that it's amazing to think how many kids that he's been involved with. So it's a pleasure to present. Well, I'm not presenting this. This is the sign that will be going over top of the gymnasium doors to make sure everybody knows how dedicated Greg Hale has been. So, that being said, could we get a picture with all of you guys holding the sign? Let's go up here next to Mr. Barr. How's that?
Okay.
Here. Oh, Wanda's coming.
So some of you guys can do that. I'll go get my phone.
Everybody say cheese.
Hello.
I don't know, it's really good.
It is very nice.
BPP did it.
Oh, BPP. Very-
Almost positive, but they do all of our signs.
Yeah, that's nice, yeah.
You gonna say anything? Right, you wanna hang up then?
Everybody got pictures? Okay.
Thank you.
We'll pause for a few minutes. Before we start the rest of the meeting, we'll pause for a few minutes for any students, anyone who needs to get home and get the rest of the evening done. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Daryl.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
It's actually kind of bittersweet, honestly.
So next is our administrative reports.
All right, it's a busy time of year right now. It started last board meeting and just continues. I know that the high school junior, I have a lot of things going on, boom, boom, boom. Some of the things have taken place this past month. We had the Hug the Earth Festival that's brought to us by the Miami County Park District. When we went, we had beautiful weather and it was at, Lost Creek. It was a Lost Creek. And so when they were there, the kindergarten got to take a hayride. They had birds there and they discussed the different types of birds that are in our area. They had a petting zoo. The kids got to pet the animals, the earth ball. And the students here are laying down because the earth actually rolls over the top of them and they thought that was pretty cool. We also had in kindergarten the Q and U wedding that took place. Without the letter U, Q could not say anything in words. It was very important that they're together and that they're married. When Q is with you, they can make the Q sound. And during that time, we had Mr. Q and Miss U get married, and now Mr. Dodry is officiating weddings if anyone needs to get married. But it was really cute. They sang the ABC song, and it was just a nice little ceremony that Q and U had. Soaring into reading at Bradford's Public Library, grades K, kindergarten through sixth grade are going down there to learn about the summer reading program. It's called Soaring. They got to meet with Stacy Lehman, learn more about the summer reading program, and they have this cute little Instagram photo op if anybody wants to stop by and get a picture taken as a butterfly and check out all of the books they have at our library. We should be very proud of our public library here in town because we have a lot of books, and they're adding on, aren't they, Mr. Dodry?
We're hoping to.
This was the first year ever where we did kindergarten through fifth grade, all in one day for Grandparents' Day. We had over 270 grandparents here for Grandparents' Day. We had some grandparents that were there, so they know how chaotic it was to start off with. But in the end, I thought it went fairly well with the amount of people that we had. We had photo booths. We had limbo out in the courtyard, because it was Cinco de Mayo. We had chips and salsa. They could make maracas and castanets. And Mrs. Roberts kind of took the lead to try to help get all of these things going because it was a little overwhelming, but again, we couldn't have asked for better weather. Grandparents are always the best because they come in happy and stay happy the entire time, laid back, and they love the time they get to spend with their grandkids. So kudos to the grandparents who kind of just went with the flow. We appreciate that, and I thought it was a great turnout and a great time for everyone. Yesterday was the Special Olympics. We had a good turnout with how they received medals or ribbons, and I know the high school also were there. These are just some of the pictures that we got. It's always good to see some students that may not thrive in a sports competition, usually to see the smiles on their faces when they're able to get first place, or just to show how much, give that self-esteem, it lifts them up. So it's awesome to see them there. And that's mine. Anybody have any questions?
All right, so at the junior high school level, the last 2 weeks of the school year are always the busiest. And we've had a lot going on the previous month leading up to this. I believe if I look at my calendar, I think I have 2 nights off in the next 2 weeks, and they're Sundays. So it is a crazy time. But going back a little bit here, our drama club put on Clue. It was a fantastic production. The kids did an amazing job. The directors, Corey and Rachel, were amazing. I'm so glad this is the second year that we've been able to put on a play, and the kids just look forward to it, and they do an amazing job. And it gives them another outlet, one more extracurricular that we didn't have prior to the last couple years. So, you know, they did a phenomenal job. I had never seen Clue, had never even played the game. And my wife said that it was exactly like the movie. So, you know, they did an amazing job. Junior high band concert last Monday. Kids, our junior high and high school band. Corey has done just such a great job with our band. The improvements that I've seen in our band with getting kids in the band, and not only getting them in, but learning the notes and the songs. He's just done such a great job. Since the first time I heard our band 2.5 years ago to now, it's night and day. And you know, that has everything to do with Corey and the job that he does with our kids, and the work ethic that our kids are putting into the band. So our numbers are going up, and you know, very happy to see that. Just another way of getting kids involved in the school. We have a 2-time state FFA champion in Molly Clark, which quite frankly is kind of unheard of. She won, Mr. Hirsch, you're gonna have to help me with this, but she won in communications of pork.
This one was agricultural communications.
Okay, agricultural communications. Last year it was her, you know, the entrepreneurship of her sales and everything with her pork production, and how she manages all of her pigs and the different pigs and everything. So, you know, Molly like lives, breathes this stuff. And, you know, Mr. Hurst and I would sit and listen to her presentations in awe of just how mature and how amazing she is. So it doesn't surprise us that she's a two-time state champ, but at the same time, you know, she's put in the work and you know, definitely deserved it. And, you know, definitely made this community proud for it.
And she will compete at national convention in October.
We had prom. Prom went great. Our queen and king candidates here. Great group of kids. Molly Clark, Sarah Beckstead, Remy Harleman, Izzy Hamilton, Shaylee Swig, Cheyenne Buchanan, and then our king candidates, Parker Davidson, Brendan Baker, Landon Mon, Ben Kitts, and Dalton Skinner. So, you know, that was our prom court for this year, and our winners are on the next slide, were Izzy Hamilton and Ben Kitts. I like the way we do our prom in terms of kids voting at prom. So nobody knows until it's read there at night. So, you know, most schools that I've been at, they vote the day before, but you vote when you come in, and I think Izzy and Ben were both pretty surprised that they won. Here's some pictures of the prom dance. We were supposed to have the prom at Stillwater, but Stillwater's doing a renovation in the backside of their banquet center. They're making it more of a family-friendly type of environment with video games and everything. So the deal was, since we couldn't have it there, they allowed us to have it at Silas in Versailles, and they paid for it. Or, I mean, paid for what we would have paid for Stillwater. They paid for us to go to Silas, and it was beautiful. It was really, you know, they say it's a 5-star restaurant. Well, the facility was definitely 5-star, and it was a very nice place to have a prom. And it was just big enough for our 68, 70 kids that came to prom this year. Kids did a great job. They had a lot of fun. So it's always nice to see them all dressed up and having a good time. And then I know that the after prom afterwards was at McBo's in Versailles, so that was nice for them to just be able to go straight over to McBo's afterwards. Last month, I kind of told you about, I did tell you about Sarah Beckstead. She won the Miami County Billboard Contest Award, and this was put up right down the street from Joe Johnson in Miami County and Troy there, just south of 25A, Sarah with her billboard. So that will be up for the time being. Lots of things going on to the end of the year. Tomorrow we have the Excellence in Education. That's where all of Miami County valedictorians and salutatorians get honored by their school districts, and that'll take place at the Learning Center. Thursday, we have the PTO Honors Banquet here in the cafeteria at 6:30. Senior breakfast is Friday morning at 8:30, along with their awards. Distinguished Alumni Assembly, we're having an assembly, so we haven't had that since prior to COVID, I believe. So we will be having that again, which will be a nice thing for our students to see the previous graduates that are being elected into the Distinguished Alumni Association. Glow Run on Saturday, along with the Distinguished Alumni Banquet.
It's our field day and
Oh,
family day
yeah.
on 24th.
So, yeah, next Wednesday, we're having our field day / family day, where all of the school gets together, and we're gonna do like a field day type of scenario where the older kids are with the younger kids, and they definitely enjoy that mix, especially the little kids looking up to the older kids. And I'm still amazed at how well our older kids that you wouldn't think would be a mentor to some of these little ones really gravitate towards that and do a really good job with it.
We have our awards and the kindergarten celebration. I call it graduation, but I know that it's not technically a graduation, so that's why I have celebration on there.
Yeah, Last day of school is next Thursday. It's a 2-hour early release that day. And then the last day for teachers is the 26th, and graduation is on the 27th. I mean, we are literally 10 days away from graduation, which seems hard to believe.
Well,
Is that old?
that's old.
Okay. Winding down with the fall sports, we do have districts for tonight and on Saturday, the finals for districts, and baseball hosts Covington on Wednesday in the sectionals. If they win that, they move on and play Fort Army. And then we have the glow run on Saturday. Bless you. And then this is all the information for the glow run, the different restaurant type, like food trucks and everything, Clark's Pizza, Kona Ice, Breeze, Bobo's, and more. I don't know what that is. Concession stand is gonna be open, then obviously we'll have the 5K. There is gonna be a dunk tank, and I've been voluntold that I will be in the dunk tank. Our new football coach will also be in the dunk tank, and along with Mr. Daughtery, and hopefully some of the other football coaches, so I don't have to sit in there near as long as we did a year and a half ago or so at the pumpkin show. Registration is $25. It does include the t-shirts and the glow bands and the awards for top 3 for each gender and age group. It is sponsored by Hurdle sponsorship forms will be there, and the gates are going to be open at 7 and the race beginning at 8:45. And it will be, there is Chloe met with, I believe the city manager today, correct, or the town manager today, and they mapped out the route and making sure that all of the roads and everything will be closed and secured so that everybody is safe.
And registration, if you want a t-shirt, ends tomorrow. If you are wanting to guarantee a t-shirt, otherwise it's kind of hit and miss getting that close.
Could you tell us what the money that they generate from that is going to? Because someone asked me.
It's gonna go to the athletic department, which will then go to possibly the facility, correct?
It's supposed to go towards the facility, yes. It's all supposed to be fundraising for the facility out here.
For equipment, for the building, for, things around the stadium that's supposed to be done.
Phase 1.
I hope. Yeah.
Phase 1. Yeah.
Any questions for me? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Mrs. Brewer, do you want to go next?
Oh, I can.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'll let you.
Convocation is 7 o'clock on May 25th at Hobart Arena. And then the Dark County 20 under 20, Ben Kitts was recognized for that. He was nominated by Mr. Trapp for his work at CarStar. So that's a pretty big honor, 20 kids in Dark County. So Ben Kitts from Bradford was honored for that.
Big award.
That's all I have.
Thanks, Maria.
Okay, I have some construction updates. This was the picture that was taken from our camera this morning to show what we're doing. You can see the white plastic and black plastic in some areas there around the track where they're spraying on the top coat. If you are interested in how that works, this is just a demonstration piece, but the rubber that they laid down here last week is actually this rubber here. If anybody would like to take a look at it, that's that. And then they spray on this top coat, which will be black in our case, but I used the red one here just to show how thin it is. You can see it's basically just a spray paint almost over top of the entire thing, just to help bind it together as it holds up over the years. So they're actually out there today spraying on the second and last coat of that top spray. And once that cures for 24 hours, they could theoretically come in and paint it the next day. But that is a separate contractor who's usually scheduled, they said, a week to 2 weeks out. So we figure that we're going to see them in about 2 weeks, most. To show you a couple pictures of what's going on out there, we do have some grass. It's not completely filled in, but this is the practice field over on the north side. 2 different views of it. We couldn't get on the field because they are working on that tacky surface, so we couldn't see that. But from the sidelines, so to speak, you could see them actually spraying that. And that's exactly what they're doing right here. They're doing the D-ring on the north end. The one fella goes around with the big pump sprayer piece. The other one in full respiratory gear and everything is spraying the stuff on just like you would a spray paint. So what it looks like now, you can see the plastic. It's actually taped to the concrete or the blacktop all the way around to keep it from oozing out. That's six inches outside of the rubber topping, so it seals it all off. So it's looking really, really nice. Different views from around the track. in the facilities. I like that shot with the Bradford Tower in the back from out there. It looks really cool. And the top part of the scoreboard, you can see two posts sticking up, or the post sticking up above the scoreboard here. We have a piece that'll go over on top. This is the piece as it's being built. Obviously, it's not completed yet, but that along with basically the gym floor train will be in the middle of it with Bradford Railroaders all the way across that in black, orange, and white lettering. So kind of excited. What has to be done out there right now? They're still working on press box. Obviously, they're going to finish up the track itself and clean up. They should be out of here on Wednesday with all their cleanup stuff. The press box, they're still waiting on windows because we had to special order everything with the black window panes and everything to match the soffits and doors and things like that that'll be out there. The goalposts are being replaced, or the one is being replaced because it wasn't exact. So they're pulling that out of the ground, which is just set in the sleeve. So they'll just pull that out, put it back in the new one, which is already here. They've got and then put the uprights on. They've got to do the shot in the disc area. They've got to do some more drainage stuff out there that we found since we've been working on all this and seen kind of what's going on out there. And then just some little tiny stuff around the track itself and striping. So realistically, we're getting very close to the end on the track itself. The 6-foot fence around the outside perimeter is supposed to start in a couple weeks. So we'll see them out here, and they'll put that fence all the way outside basically what you would consider inside of a football area for a game. We will be showing that off on Saturday night during the glow run from 7 o'clock to 8:30. We'll be over here. I'll turn the lights on and those type of things and stand out here and answer questions for the 16 people that come over and see me. And then everybody else will be over having fun dunking Mr. Barr and everybody else in the dunk tank. So, but I will be over here. During that night, they are going to have, Mr. Barr said something about the hurdles being sponsored. We will have a campaign basically start that evening to help offset some of those costs that are coming up with hurdles equipment. There's on the agenda $60,000+ order for equipment that'll be used out there. So those type of things will be offset with some of these funds that'll be raised for this. I was going to point out our 4 retirees typically would be here, but they had their party tonight. The informal party was tonight over in Greenville, and they were over there, and I would hope they're still there having fun. So that's one of the reasons that they weren't here tonight. And we will have a formal retirement dinner or recognition for them on Thursday this next week. So you're welcome to come join us if you'd like to. I think it's at 1:30 Thursday afternoon. And then the last thing I had was staff appreciation was last week. We have an amazing staff here, and talking about, our retirees, Greg Hale, everybody that works here with our school system, our teachers, our aides, our secretaries, our drivers are second to none. I mean, where can you go and have such a dedicated group? So I'm very excited to say that we appreciate them, number one, but we did give a small token to each of them, and at your seats, board members, there is the same token. If it was kind of a creative whim of some of the folks in the board office there to put this together, but I thought it turned out really cute, and hopefully it's useful, especially the staff members. Most of them got computers this last year, so something with a mouse and mouse pad seemed kind of go along with the same thing. So anyways, with that, that's all I have, unless you have questions.
Any questions? Great, thank you very much. Carla, do you have an update from the treasurer's office?
Yeah, I do. Mr. Hurst gets to talk about the fun thing with the constructions, and that leads me into talking about some of the dollars and cents and what we've been doing and how we've been talking about what's going to be happening in the future. But I've spent a considerable amount of time over the last few months trying to look at some of the dollars we have in the grants and trying to utilize it the best we can. For those of you who are not really aware how these grants work, they were backwards grants, which was quite unusual. The state would give us money and we had the opportunity to go back and pass for some of the items that we had already purchased, plus things we were going to be purchasing. So this was like a treasure hunt to dig through the books and figure out, okay, what do we have to do here so we could free up money in the general fund to do some of the other things and possibly work on the project and do some additional work. And that has been over the span of probably 10 or 15 grants. So we're getting to the end of that. We're working on ESSERS because that does end in June. We're having to look at a lot of these deadlines now because they're starting to creep up on us. And we worked on it last week, and I think with what you have on the agenda tonight, we will pretty much solidify everything that we need to do with what they called ESSERS 2, which is the second phase of the COVID money. Most of that has been taken care of. You are also dealing with a homeless grant that we are in the process of working on to try to get some additional transportation for the district as far as vans to use for student population. And that seems to be more of a need as time goes on. So we've really been looking at a lot of different things, and hopefully in the next meeting or two, we'll have some definitive things that we can share with you that'll show the direction of where we're going to go with some of the additional construction. You know, we're in phase 1, we have phase 2, and it's hard to tell what else we might come up with. We've been thinking about a lot of things, which is always dangerous, but a lot of fun. And I think I can speak for everybody involved with this project that we thoroughly enjoyed the challenge of it, the growth from it, everything about it has turned out to be a really rewarding experience. And I hope that everyone in the public feels the same way, because it's been a great thing, and I hope it's a great thing for this community. So that's an overview. So as we're working through that, I know we'll be sharing some things with you in the next 2 months and getting some items wrapped up and trying to convey some of that. Now, I will tell you, because of all that, I've given you a preliminary of the 5-year forecast. It's fairly solid on some of the last page actually gives you the dollars and cents of it, but the writings are not complete. So we are in pretty good standing right now. With the Fair Schools funding plan, we have a situation where we're pretty much stable with our state funding. This is not going to give us a great boost of money, but we've been maintaining our ADM, our student population the last few years. So I think it's going to be a good thing for us having the Fair School funding, but we're not seeing a lot of additional dollars. The most noteworthy thing, and this is where I'm in a quandary on this, our school district income tax has been escalated this last year over what it's been in the past. And I don't know if that's an anomaly from the way it's been collected, but it's been, or it's just the health of the economy that drives that. So that's been the one area where we've picked up some dollars. And of course, the interest rates and some of the investments have done exceptionally well. So we've been picking up some money along that line. But one of the last thing I want to talk about is the electric buses. We've been very much involved with that. I have requested the $790,000 from the EPA. That will be an interesting thing. And actually, because some of what I have out there is tied into the general fund, that will have an impact on the forecast. So I'm going to finish this up but I'm going to consider it dynamic because we have so many large sets of dollars that are impacting our general fund back and forth right now. And I think that's a good problem to have. There's no negatives to be found here. So I feel pretty good about where we're at. Hope we can continue down that path. As I said, hope you'll forgive me for bringing forth a preliminary, but I need to file this by the end of the month. Prior to my filing, I will give you a final copy of it for your perusal. And then if you have any questions prior to my filing, we can adjust that. But it's an estimate of where we're going to be. And the main focus is to keep us abreast of what's happening financially. And I feel like we are. I feel like we've got that under control. And I'm not going to say I'm not worried about the finances, but I do think that we have a good control on the finances. Even with, you'll vote on an increase to the health insurance of 9.5% tonight. Not a welcome increase, but understandable with what's going on with healthcare. So those are some of the highlights of the money that's running back and forth through the district. And with that, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Any questions? Thanks, Carla. Appreciate your update. I have no request for public participation. Did you? So next on our agenda is the Treasurer's financial reports, which is items 1 through 31. And so it goes through a few pages. Are you able to give us kind of a high-level overview of what we would be approving?
Yes. Typical work, the financial journal, the check register, the then and now certifications for those items impacted. Several transfers and advances, and that is a result of the additional funding we're receiving outside the general fund. Approval of the permanent appropriations, which is once again tied to the grants. We have a lot of changes each month because we've got the grants coming in. We have some very specific donations from Hartsel Propeller, C Squared Industrial, Bradford PTO, Gareth and Athena Beechler, Elena Jennings, Keith Giozzi, Rachel Myring, Bob Dollery, Bethany Espich, Premier Partnership, Aaron's Corporation, and Aaron's Corporation again, Daryl and Kathy Gamble. And we have some money coming in from the Miami County Foundation for our 7th grade mindsets. We have also Miami County Foundation for trees to be planted around the new track complex. The grant from the EPA, the Ohio EPA for Recycle Ohio water bottle filling stations. We have a BWC safety intervention grant that we're receiving for $35,475 to buy an articulated boom lift. We have cameras that we're purchasing as a result of the Ohio Attorney General School Law Enforcement Technology Linking Safety Grants. We have the insurance increases that I have mentioned earlier. We had our LFB meeting with the Southwest Ohio EPC, and we are having the same premiums as in the past. This is a new company, or new brokerage firm rather. We applied for a Sam's credit card, and we have, I'm asking for a bond issuance and certificate because we have the certificates of participation, and they would like to have a certification of funds that we have available for that. We have a treasurer's bond, the 5-year forecast that we discussed earlier, and we also have an application for a Healthy Meals grant up to $150,000 for the food service department.
Thanks, Carla. Could I have a motion to accept the items before us? Second. Any discussion or questions for Carla? Hearing none, we have a roll call for approval, please.
Mr. Biesecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer.
Yes.
Next on our agenda is new business. There are consent items 1 through 19. And Joe, if you could give us a high-level overview of what you're asking us to approve.
Certainly will. Resignations, we've got some resignations and some employment pieces here. We are losing a bus driver this year. We do have interviewees interested in coming in. We've got some home instruction, we've got some substitute contracts here. We've got some summer school teachers. We have a teacher going on a 3-year limited teaching contract. We've got some supplemental assignments, all the same clubs and advisors and coaches that we've had in the past. Roxanne Stocksdale, we would hope that she continues with our ENIS coordination. We have a few non-teaching contracts to offer, which would be bus driver, a kitchen worker, and a van driver. Continuing non-teaching contracts for our nurse, a custodian and an aide. And then we've got a waiving of one of our policies or in the agreement that a part-time employee only gets a step increase every other year for one of our cafeteria workers who only works 3 hours. So technically she's not full-time. So to get her the equivalent of a raise every year, we'd like to do this. We have school fees to approve this year. There's only one new one or one change, and that's the last one on the list, math, modeling, and reasoning. It's a new class, so we're adding a fee for $20 for that class to cover some of the costs. Our meal prices are going to stay the same this year. We have a student by the name of Gavin that is found the second gear late in the season here and is zooming through his classes at ACES, and we'll have hopefully have everything.
He's done.
He's done. I was gonna say, I thought he was close.
He was done last week.
So he'll graduate with his class here this next week. We have Dayton, it says Dayton Power and Light, but now it's Ohio, AES Ohio needs a right of way to our transformers. We want to buy a Kaivac cleaning machine for our cleaning around the building with help of a grant. We have a snorkel lift that we've already approved the grant from that will be purchased in number 7. Number 8 is a timing system called flash timing to help track our kids as they go around the track. Number 9 is all the equipment that we will be using. We call it phys ed education equipment. It will be used for phys ed, but it'll also be used for our track meets. And that will be purchased through Esser's money as well. Number 10, we've got an MOU on the board agenda here for bereavement leave to increase that basically from 3 days to 5 days. So staff members could grieve their immediate family without having to get a doctor's note for that. Number 11, we have a new position to approve for route van driving. We have our van on the road every day, taking our kids to different places. And this would be a normal everyday pay as opposed to somebody jumping in and going for a supplemental or something after school. Number 12, we've got a student that agreed to waive all rights for a special educational situation. And this is the verbiage that our attorney told us to use. So sorry it's so broad, but I can explain it more in private if you have questions. 13, we'd like to go to 4 10-hour days again this summer. There's the dates that we would do that for our 11 and 12-month employees. Number 14, we'd like to have all of our staff members basically have the same reward system for personal leave and attendance situations for number 15 that everybody in DEA has with their contract. Number 16, we have a fundraiser for the track facility starting Saturday. We'd like to go through that a little bit with you tonight. I'll share that with you a little bit later on. In fact, I have it here. If you guys would like, this is a draft of what it looks like, but I'm gonna pass those around. And I have one from Pro. This is a starting point. This is not the end point. So this is food for thought, and then we'll discuss. We're just saying we're going to start the fundraising, but I'd like your input on what that looks like later on. that was number 16. 17 is an overnight field trip for the FFA. 18 is giving the same 2.5% raise to the entire staff, not just BEA members or teachers. Number 19 is a rival contract for $3,500 to clean all of our air conditioning units, which hopefully will help with the coolness of rooms just like this. That is all for the consent agenda.
Have a motion to approve the items that were presented. Thanks, Trey, and a second.
Second.
Holly and Scott. Any discussion or questions regarding the presentation? Hearing none, roll call for approval.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer.
Yes.
Next items are approving employment of Alex Swab for position of head reserve boys basketball coach for 2023-2024, and Eric Swab for position of assistant varsity boys basketball coach.
So moved.
Any second?
Second.
Discussion? If none, roll call for approval.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Abstain.
Mrs. Brewer.
Yes.
Next item is improving the employee of Hudson Hill for 2023 summer help.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thanks, Trey. Discussion? And a roll call for approval?
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Abstain.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer.
Yes.
Next item is approving the amendment contract with Vinsman Welding for the original resolution noted to change the amount to $7,500. Do a motion to approve?
So moved.
Holly, and a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Maria. Joe, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, clarification, we did vote on the original contract last month because of the bars were too wide for code. They had to put more bars in, which raised the price to well, it's still not going to be $7,500 when we're done with it. But the great thing is the original plan for the wooden steps that were going to be up there was, I think, for $8,300,
I thought it was 8,000, but
it was 8,000. It was more than what we're paying for the metal steps you've got in front of you. So we're still saving money, even though this is more than what we originally figured.
Any questions or discussion? If none, then roll call for approval.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer.
Yes.
Next item to discuss is the first reading of the multiple renewal policies listed in our agenda. Joe, do you have anything to add or any?
Yeah, these were mind-numbingly horrible to go through this time. All of these, I can't tell you even a single piece here that was exciting to talk about, new, exciting, anything different. They were all to either update what was getting old or new laws that were coming along. I can go through any of them. I've got a checklist. I hope, did Sandy send you all these? Okay. If you have questions, I'll certainly go through them, but I truly don't have any highlights to pass along.
Nothing you need to call out as far as from your perspective?
No, I'm embarrassed to even bring these in front of you, to be honest with you.
Does anybody have any questions overall on the ones that were listed?
No, I did get everything to load up a lot easier than it did before. Before it was like each one, then you had to stop and do the next and do the next, but for some reason it did it.
Ooh, they kind of rolled.
Yeah.
They did it on my phone.
Yeah, I was gonna reply to that email and ask if I need to combine them again.
It didn't take 3 hours.
Glad it worked.
If no other discussion, we consider that to be the first reading of those policies and first discussion. Next item on our agenda is motion to enter executive session for item G1 on your printed agenda.
So moved.
Thanks, Scott. And a second.
Second.
Roll call for executive session.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer.
Yes.
7:30, and there'll be no formal action taken after the exiting the executive session.
This is a draft, and I'll get back to you as soon as I get there, because I don't have all the writings.
I got it.
Yeah.
executive session at 8:55.
Move.
Second.
Roll call for adjournment.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes,
Mrs. Brewer.
Yes.
8:56, we stand adjourned. Thanks everybody for your time and energy.
Yes, thank you.
Holly, I didn't show this to you, but